This is the Hey Eddie Podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. The Hey Eddie Podcast is dedicated to helping kids like my cool cousin Eddie learn about the Bible and learn important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. The Bible is indeed God's gift to kids, a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. On today's episode of the Hey Eddie Podcast, we're going to be studying Mark chapter 8, verse 27 through chapter 9, verse 1, in a lesson titled, Who do you say that I am? This lesson will teach us that you have to decide for yourself who Jesus is and then follow him for real, even when it's hard. Our key memory verse is from Mark chapter 8, verse 29. You are the Messiah. Hey, Eddie. Okay, I've got a question for you. If someone asked, who is Jesus, what would you say? Would you say, he's a nice guy, a good teacher, a miracle worker? What about the king of everything? Today's story is about the moment when one of Jesus' best friends finally figured out who Jesus really was. But then, oh boy, things got a little crazy. Ready? Let's go. So Jesus and his disciples were walking along the road, heading toward a place called Caesarea Philippi. It was way up north, pretty far from home. And while they were walking, Jesus asked them a question. Who do people say I am? The disciples looked at each other and said, well, some people think you're John the Baptist come back to life. Others think you're Elijah, the famous prophet from long ago. Some just say you're one of the prophets. Interesting answers, right? People knew Jesus was special. They just didn't know how special. Then Jesus looked right at them and asked a different question, a bigger question. But what about you? Who do you say I am? Whoa, that's not what do other people think. That's what do you think? And Peter, good old Peter, stepped up and said, you are the Messiah. Boom! That's a huge word, Eddie. Messiah means the chosen one, the king that God promised to send to save his people. Peter was saying, you're not just a prophet. You're not just a teacher. You're the one. You're the king we've been waiting for. And Peter was right. But here's where things get interesting. After Peter said that, Jesus started teaching them something they did not expect. He said, the Son of Man, that's me, is going to suffer a lot. The important leaders are going to reject me. I'm going to be killed, but after 3 days, I'll rise again. The disciples probably just stared at him. Killed? What? See, they thought the Messiah would be like a superhero king. They thought he'd ride in on a horse, defeat all the bad guys, and everyone would cheer. Victory parade, crowns and thrones, happily ever after. But Jesus said, nope, that's not the plan. I'm going to suffer, I'm going to die, and then I'll rise again. Peter did not like this. He pulled Jesus aside and said, no way, Jesus. This can't happen to you. You're the Messiah. And then Jesus said something really shocking. He looked at Peter and said, get behind me, Satan. Yikes! Wait, did Jesus just call Peter Satan? Well, not exactly. He wasn't saying Peter was the devil, but he was saying that Peter was thinking like the enemy, not like God. See, Peter wanted Jesus to win the easy way, the flashy way, the no pain, all gain way. But that wasn't God's plan. God's plan was for Jesus to save the world by dying for it, and then rising again. Peter was trying to stop that plan, and that's exactly what the enemy would want. Then Jesus called everyone over, not just the disciples, but the whole crowd, and he said something super important. If anyone wants to follow me, they have to deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. Okay, let's break that down. Deny yourself means stop putting yourself first all the time. It doesn't mean you're not important, you are. But following Jesus means saying, what Jesus wants matters more than what I want. Take up your cross means be willing to do hard things for Jesus. In those days, a cross was something people carried when they were about to die for something. Jesus was saying, following me isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Follow me means go where Jesus goes, do what Jesus does, live the way he lived. Then Jesus said something that sounds kind of like a riddle. Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and the gospel will save it. Huh? What does that mean? Here's the idea, Eddie. If you spend your whole life just trying to get stuff, be popular, and make everything easy for yourself, you'll miss out on the real life, the one that lasts forever with God. But if you follow Jesus, even when it's hard, even when people make fun of you, even when you have to give something up, you'll find the life that really matters. It's like, imagine holding on to a bunch of sand really tight. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But if you open your hands and trust God, he fills them with something way better. Then Jesus gave a warning. If anyone is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels. That's serious, Eddie. Ashamed means pretending you don't know someone because you're embarrassed. Like if your mom waved at you in front of your friends and you acted like you didn't see her. Don't do that, by the way. Moms are awesome. Jesus is saying, don't pretend you don't know me just because it's awkward or hard. Don't hide your faith because someone might make fun of you. If you stand up for Jesus now, even when it's not cool, he'll stand up for you later when it matters most. So what does this mean for you? First, you gotta answer the question for yourself. Who do you say Jesus is? Not your parents, not your friends, not your Sunday school teacher. You. Is he just a nice guy or is he your king? Second, following Jesus isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. It means putting him first, even when it's hard. Third, don't be ashamed. If anyone asks you if you believe in Jesus, don't hide it. Be brave. He's proud of you, so be proud of him. Fourth, real life comes from giving, not grabbing. When you let go of me first and follow Jesus, that's when you find what your heart really needs. So here's my question for you today, Eddie. Who do you say Jesus is? Think about it, pray about it, and then live like you mean it. This has been the Hey Eddie Podcast. I'm your host, Cousin Michael. Remember that the Hey Eddie Podcast is dedicated to studying the Bible and learning important lessons about God, about Jesus, and about life. Today we discussed Mark chapter 8, verse 27 through chapter 9, verse 1. Tune in soon for another episode of the Hey Eddie Podcast, where we'll study Mark chapter 9, verses 2 through 13. Love you, Eddie.